Welcome everyone to Ask the Experts, Experts podcast. So truly grateful to have all of you tune in. And today I have a very special guest, Joe Foster. Joe is the co-founder of Reebok. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for the welcome, Alka. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Joe. Let's start with your first question. If you had to start all over again, what would you do? Would you do anything different?
Well, since Jeff and myself, my brother, we started off in 1958. Since then, the technology in the world has moved so rapidly. So what would I do? I think there's some basics. One thing is know your business very well. The other basic is know technology. You've got to understand technology now because technology plays such an important role. You know, we're talking on Zoom, and prior to COVID, we didn't have Zoom.
Yes.
We had computers, we could send messages, we had smartphones. But when Jeff and I started, we didn't have computers, we didn't have smartphones. In fact, I stepped back from Reebok in 1989, and we still didn't have computers, and we didn't have smartphones. All those have come since. So if I was starting today, yes, I would research, because you can research more. You can do so much research now with the technology we have. So I would research everything that I needed to and learn all I could about whatever environment I was going to, I would do that. But then, as I say, there are some things which I can go back to my grandfather. You have to find, how do you influence your market? That is so important, to know how to influence your market. My grandfather probably didn't know the word influencer, but he used to provide his shoes to leading athletes. Way back in 1904, he had 3 world records in his shoes. 1908, he had gold medals at the Olympics, giving his shoes to the right people. And it's that, know who influences your business. And in the 20s, 1924, in fact, which is 100 years ago, that was the Paris Olympics in 1924. 2 athletes, one won the 100 meters and the other the 400 meters sprints, and they both wore my grandfather's shoes.
Wow.
And so we're celebrating 100 years now this year of those victories. So, and they were the athletes in Chariots of Fire.
Amazing.
You remember, they were the ones that were immortalized in Chariots of Fire. So when we talk about what you need to know what influences your business, how you can make get people's attention. And if it's a product, with sports shoes, it was much easier with sports shoes than many products, because sports shoes have an identity. You look at them and you can see, yes, that's an Adidas, that's a Nike, that's a Reebok, and
yes.
you can see the product. So that is a help. In street shoes, you can't have that, but you still put them on people who are interesting, and then you promote it, then you advertise it. In our early days, all it cost was a pair of shoes. And my grandfather, just a pair of shoes. Now influencing is a big business.
Absolutely. Yes, it is. So when we talk about influencing, what are some of the tips and insights that you could, share with our audience for business and leaders? What are some of the tips and insights?
Tips and insights. I think it's very useful to find something which is unusual. If you can do something a little unusual, and a lot of this is a bit of luck. We'll go to the 1992 Olympics, when Reebok had the ceremony where you got your gold medals. Reebok had the clothing agreement there, so anybody going up to collect their medal had to wear the Reebok outfits.
Right.
These are the influencing ones. And in '92, the American basketball team won the gold medal. But of course, all these basketball players, they're all signed up to different companies. And Jordan, who was the team captain, and we all know of Jordan, Michael Jordan, he didn't like wearing the Reebok tracksuit because he was a Nike man. So he draped the American flag over his shoulder to cover the Reebok motive that sign. As soon as the ceremony was over, he took off his jacket and threw it away. But that caused so much attention. So that gave more attention to Reebok. He wanted to sort of say, I'm Nike, but that gave Reebok so much attention. And he actually signed that Reebok jacket. He signed it, and one of his team took it. It's been sold. That jacket had been sold about 2 years ago for $1.5 million.
Wow.
So these are the little things. If you can find some little bits of unusual things,
right,
people pick up on that, and that gives you a lot of promotion. So you look all the time to find something which is different. And if you can find that little bit of difference, whatever it is, influencers are good, but finding a little bit of something that's unusual is and looking for that, and it's it does help your product.
Well, in essential, it's what's your USP? How are you unique? How do you stand out? And in today's world, it's all about standing out as, perfect. Reebok is a brand, and it's all about standing out. So, Joe, what are some of the stress as you are traveling all over the world, how do you deal with stress, if you do, and the competition?
Well, I was in Charlotte. It's about 6 months ago now, and we had an event there. Then after the event, we went to a school, just a regular school, and we talked to the students there. And one of the questions that was asked that how did you and your brother handle the stress of setting up your own business?
Right.
And I could answer that quite easily because I said, we didn't know the word stress.
Yes, true. Yeah.
In 1958, we didn't know the word stress. So I think one of the biggest problems in today's life is we know so much. Yeah. We know too much sometimes. And we have too many reasons for this, reasons for that. And so they give us too many reasons because we can be ill without knowing it. We can do all sorts of things. And I think we go back to the 50s. We didn't know stress. Stress is something you put something on that when you're stretching a piece of leather, you get stress.
That's true, yeah.
It wasn't something that was an emotion that you had to, that you suffered. So my answer is still that. To me, we don't know. We've not grown up with stress. So it's not a problem.
That's true, yes. Yeah. Exactly. Well, today there's a lot of stress, new businesses or, people just wanting to know, okay, what is that next best? Or how do I start? And there's so much stress that we just inflict on ourselves. But back in those days, yes, people didn't have stress. So absolutely. And if you could go back and share with the audience, what are the 3 life lessons that you would want the audience to share? Could you share with us what are 3 life lessons?
I think
that we can take away.
In life lessons, integrity. You must have integrity. If you wish to be successful, you have to have that. Nextly, listen. Listen to people. It is so important to listen. If forever all you're doing is giving advice and not listening, you don't learn anything. You do not learn. And there are so many people out there, some are a little bit shyer than others, some don't speak too much, but encourage that. Encourage people and share. Whatever your business is, make people feel they belong. They are part. And again, that was one of the easiest things for us with Reebok, because we developed a winning culture. So everybody wanted to win. And you could easily win because we had races. And in races, you win or you lose it. Yeah. Right. But in our races, we were always winners. You can beat yourself. You know, this was my fastest time. And I beat this person. I was faster, because there are hundreds, sometimes thousands of runners in some of the races. And so you will always be running at your level. You'll always know the people around you are all the same people. So if you beat them, you're a winner. So we could develop that winning culture, which was part of the company, and everybody shared that. You know, you didn't work for Reebok; you were part of Reebok. You know, we're Reebok. So it's that we, rather than, I hated egos. I didn't like it. People with an ego. No, we are a team. We do this as a team, and the only egos, you know, they might be the influencers, probably had egos, but we use those people as influencers.
Exactly. Well, there's no I in team. If you're building a team, If you're building a team, it's we. And oftentimes, you know, most people do say, well, it's all about me. And that's where the ego comes in. And that's where, and if you're building a culture, which is why I really love, Joe, that you have developed a culture. You developed not only a culture, but it's a family. Reebok, the brand, is a family. And this is what I really love. And that's why it's really an honor for me to meet with you, because, you know, and I really love, because it's all about the family and it's the culture. So it is so important. How can we develop a winning mindset, no matter what business, if you're wanting to start a business, how do you develop a winning mindset?
Yeah, I think that is something, I don't say you're born with it, but I think you have to be an optimist. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I know pessimists, and I know people who will ask questions and try to sort of nail everything down to the last detail. I think that's a waste of time, personally. Detail you will find, but you've got to take the risk. You've got to make a move. You've got to do things. By the time you've got down to the last detail, it's probably too late. This is the risk. The risk that, well, come on. And so you develop that culture because everybody wants to be with you, taking that risk. It's that, you know, the gun goes off, you're going. Mm-hmm. Whatever direction it is that you're going into. We used to look for white space. And what is white space? White space for us was when Jeff and I left the family business and Adidas had come in and taken the soccer business, there was no room in soccer. So we had to look for different areas. For us, it was a rugby in the north of England. It was a specialist event. We had cross country, we had orienteering, we had all sorts of running, fell running, and there were a lot of small areas that we could be number one in. We could be special in those areas. So we were winning all the time, and we were growing this culture. We had a small factory in those early days, and a lot of the athletes would come along, would come to us at the factory and help. And if you needed a job doing, an electrical job doing, it was undoubtedly one of the people from any of the clubs would be an electrician, and they would come and do it. And that developed a broader culture, not just within the company, but within the sport that we were in. So developing that culture, listen to people, and a lot of those people did help us design shoes. You know, we had one called tendon detector, because the back of the shoe, if it rubs the tendon, you get tendonitis, and that is bad. So we had a shoe which we developed a dip in it so that it didn't touch the Achilles. And that came through building this culture, building these people. They wanted to help, and they wanted to help design. because no matter how good you are, you do need people to help with the design. There are a lot of parts of the Reebok shoes, even today, that I designed, and they're still there. They're classically still there. But a lot of things I didn't design. You needed that team. I don't know if you know much about Reebok, but the pump was something, again, it was that uniqueness of the pump, that specialness. But that was part of the team. Somebody else brought that in, and so it goes. So building that team, it's very important, and it's important that you share that.
Yes,
that team.
Absolutely. Well, Joe, it's been such an honor, such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you who come back tuning in to Ask the Experts podcast week in and week out. Stay tuned for the next episode of Ask the Experts. Joe, appreciate. Thank you so much.
Been a pleasure, Alka. Absolute pleasure. And good luck with your business.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.